All right, I'm going to continue then. This is video number 2. We just had one just a little bit ago because otherwise they'll run, it's too long. So, video number 2. This is memories that I had between the ages 1 and 3. We lived in a tiny little house. It's kind of like a little shack, I suppose. And my dad probably worked in construction because he has always, been a construction person. But we were poor and all that. And I have just little memories that come and go. And I see them like I just replay the little videos and it's like I'm there. I mean, I feel myself being there, and I don't know if a lot of people remember things that way, but I remember them like a video. I just turn it on, and I want that memory, so it comes up and I see it. So we lived there, and we had a lot of scares because in Texas, there's all kinds of creatures, a lot of coyotes, a lot of rattlesnakes inside the house. Sometimes we would see centipedes, they glow at night. And those really scared us. My older sister and I, we would scream bloody murder whenever we would see something like that on the wall. And my dad would get up and try to find it and never did. But it's something that happened once in a while, not very often, but once in a while. So that was kind of spooky and scary being there. Outside, like I said, it was just dirt, so I would just play in the dirt, have a really good time doing it. You know how children are. But I remember we had one tree close to the house, not next to the house, but close to the house. In the whole area, there was one tree. And I told my dad I wanted a swing. So we didn't have a car or anything, so he must have gone out tried to find some old tires or something. So he got a tire and a rope and made me a little swing. And every day I would run out to that little swing and just swing and upside down on my, you know how kids are. Really, really had a lot of fun doing that. And because it's hot, so when you swing, you feel the cool breeze, and it's just beautiful. And then one day, I looked down. There was a big tree trunk, but it was hollow, and it was a hole down there. So I looked, and there was a chameleon down there. He was kind of big, but not aggressive. He just stood there looking at me. And I would swing and look at him, and he would look at me. We would look at each other. And then sometime later, there were two. He got a girlfriend, so whenever they would hear me in the swing or whatever, they would come out of their little house, little hollow on the tree, and they would stand side by side to watch me swing, and I swing. And I really don't remember if I ever fed them. Probably not. They had plenty of scorpions and stuff to eat. And then one day there was 3 of them. The tiny little baby was there. Those were my pets, even though I never touched them or anything. But I would look forward to going to my swing. And every time I go to my swing, my dad would always warn me to look inside the tire, check the tire, make sure there's no rattlesnakes inside or scorpions or whatever. So I would always look at the hollow of the tire before I would start playing there. And I would run out there and loved it. Now I had a little baby that was watching me. So I did that until we left. That was my very, very favorite swing that I had. And other memory between 1 and 3 while we were in Carrizo Springs, Texas. In the middle of the night, and I remember this, people don't have to tell me. For some reason, I would cry. I don't know why I would cry. And my dad would come to see what the problem was. My sister and I always slept together, and I loved being next to her because I felt so safe. But she didn't know what to do with me when I'd cry. So my dad would come and I'd tell him outside, I want to go outside to look at the stars. And particularly remember this one time that I told my dad that, and he picked me up in his arms and he took me outside where we both looked at the stars and I was pointing at everything. And my mom came out with my older sister, and she was telling my mom was telling my dad, why do you do this? You're spoiling her, totally spoiled. In the middle of the night, she gets you up, brings her out to look at the stars. And my dad said, that's okay. That's okay. She wants to look at the stars. She's going to look at the stars. And he would hold me in his arms and I would point and he would laugh at whatever I would say. And he would encourage me to be, spoiled, like my mom was saying. And so those were beautiful memories. But one of the things is that I remember looking at my mom and saying, why is she interfering in my life? Why is she doing this? Because she was always like that. Every time my dad would spoil me, she'd point it out to him. And another thing I remember is my older sister and I were playing outside, and my mom called, and we both ran inside the house, and she had like high chairs where she had to pick me up and sit me on the high chair. And I remember that she brought bowls of oatmeal. It was chocolate oatmeal. It was a special treat that she would give us. And I remember just, I suppose, thinking, I'm never going to forget this. This is so good. I'm so happy. I had no idea we were poor or anything like that. I was just, enjoying my life, having a really, really good time. And what else do I remember about that 1, 2, 3 in that little town? My dad was digging a hole, and in the kind of not really next to the house, but close to the house. It was a big hole, and I remember I was really bad. I mean, I wasn't little ladylike. I was like a little boy. I liked running and jumping from one side to the other of the hole. And this time I missed the other side and I just hit the wall down where, had rocks and everything. And I hit it with my head and then I fell to the hole. But I started screaming and whatever. My mother came and all that, got me out, and I had a rock inside my forehead. My mom popped it out, and I had a cut. So I remember her looking for cobwebs. She put cobwebs on my forehead to stop the bleeding. People knew how to do all that stuff back then because they just knew, all those home remedies and everything. So I don't think I ever jumped that hole again. I do remember that. And as far as I can remember, those are about the only memories that I have so clear that I can place myself in that spot at that age and feel it. It's just very strange. I don't know how to explain it, but I think I have time for other stories. All right, so this is number 2, video number 2. I have to note them down here on a little piece of paper because I don't want to forget, things that let's see. I got this one too. This one. Yep, I think I covered all the things that I remember that are so clear to me. So the next tape is tape number 3 is going to be about Laredo, Texas. We moved to Laredo, Texas when I was 3 years old. So that's the next tape.